I am very happy to stop talking and turn it over to one of our resident speakers. She's one of the premier musicians and singers in the Twin Cities. I remember going to see the Girls a number of times with Lori Dockin, and I was just in awe of Patty Peterson's voice. So we are lucky to have her as a resident speaker. She's also a radio personality, and she's quite an inspiring speaker. So if you would help me, please welcome Patty Peterson.
So excuse me, we have to check my mic. Is this thing on too? Shall I check?
There you go.
There it is. I was going to check my power in front of everyone. Was that symbolic? I think it was. You know, that's not fair. I didn't even go to a party and I'm groping for the right words today. Are you kidding me? Tis the season to be exhausted. Anybody agree with me?
Yes.
Oh, man. So they said to me about a month ago, okay, so what's your title going to be? And I said, isn't it ritual? What is it? I don't remember. And they said, it's everyday sacred kind of stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, sacred, holidays, bah humbug. And I thought to myself how important it is to try to keep, you know, your sanity during a time like this, and anytime actually. But for me, when I tried to come up with a title, I thought, interesting, you know? I don't know about you, but there's so many emotions that lead up to this holiday time. And one of them that likes to sneak in for me is fear. So I did this little play on words, holiday season, sacred, or scared. And the scared part for me comes up with, when I talk to people, oh, the economy, it seems like, you know, the news stories trying to find nice stories to talk about because we're so conditioned to hearing all this negative stuff out there, the chatter. I think the financial piece for us individually and for our economy, we can't get away from it. That puts a lot of fear. Are we going to spend enough? And if we don't spend enough, what's going to happen to America? And you know it's our fault, right? And I just think how I am personally, because this is a huge month for me. I do many, many concerts and rehearsals, and then I prepare for a family concert, which is today, by the way, with all three generations. And we rehearse at Mom's, and there's a great deal of tradition that goes in there, and it's usually surrounded around food. So trying to focus on actually getting the job done, I'll admit it, but I love every minute of it. So, you know, it really becomes a true testing time for me. And I thought to myself, you know, what can I tell anybody at this point? Because if there's a time that challenges me, it's this holiday season. Because I am stretched. I'm so stretched that trying to create sacredness in my everyday, not so good at it. Well, I say that to you because I think that I'm looking for my own certain kind of high from that sacred experience. And what I mean by that is, you know, when we go within, sometimes we go to a great place of connection, and on the other side of it we feel like, this great cleansing breath, and I don't make that time during the holiday season, not very often. How about you guys? Huh? Yeah, okay. Well, even if you're not admitting it, I know you have those times too. So I really was challenged about what am I going to come up with? A, where am I going to find the time to come up with what I want to say to all of you? And B, how am I going to deliver that message from a place of authenticity? Because I don't know that I'm really walking that right now. And then there's that whole dichotomy about, well, it's the holiday season. Don't you feel that cheer? And I said to my 90-year-old mother in the car the other day, I don't have it, Mom. And I'm finding with every single year, although I'm really grateful for my mom, 90 years old, brilliant keyboard player, healthy, still with us, I'm thinking to myself, well, why can't I be grateful for just that and be in the moment? So, you can tell I have a little attitude about it. So, I'm challenged. I'm not this motivational speaker who's going to get up and tell you how to change your life so that you feel inspired every day, not just during the holidays. and how you can make every day sacred. What I am trying to do is identify the people who might be feeling the same thing, stretched, you know, wondering if you're going to have enough money to please all the children in such a way that they're going to go, wow, that was a great Christmas. Oh, okay, check it out. Too little. I had to work on that one for about a year and a half, actually. So I thought I would come together today with all of you and remind you about a few things, and then see if we can't walk through what this whole holiday season can mean to everyone here, regardless of what religion you were raised in, and how maybe you can create, and I can create, sacredness in the moment. You know when I really feel that sacredness is in the moment? When I am not at a rehearsal, but when I'm singing. And if I'm singing in a church setting, in a spiritual center, on a stage, I have been doing this long enough where I can tap in and I can get out of the way. And isn't that a huge lesson in life? Learning how to do that, and do that, you know, I'm lucky I have my art in which I can do that. And I can really open my eyes and say, okay, where did I just go for the last 2 minutes? Oh yeah. And that's what I look forward to doing and experiencing today with you here, and especially at my concert. My family is my happy place. Don't get me wrong, okay? I love my family. It's just that I've always been the hub of the wheel. My dad died when I was 14. Mom went to work, and sometimes for a couple weeks at a time, because she was in show business as well. And with my grandma, I helped raise my 2 younger brothers, and so I have carried that tradition through life. I'm 57 now, and I'm still doing that. And so I find it a challenge, and I find it a blessing. So I did a lot of surfing the internet when I came up with the title, and when I decided what I was going to try to convey to you today. And I actually went to 2 different places, actually. One of them is how easy it is to take an everyday situation like washing the dishes and turn it into something other than doing the dishes. You know, have you ever had those moments where you're doing the dishes, let's say you're making a bed, and you have a thought come into your head that isn't your own voice? Your intuition comes in. So what you're doing essentially by doing is you are becoming this person who is simply being. And it's the shift right now during this crazy holiday from the doing to the being, and seeing if that consciousness can come with you through your everyday activities. Now that's the challenge, because then, as a comedian girlfriend of mine said to me, then you invite 6 of your relatives over, bring up the alcohol, and 24 personalities show up. And that can be a challenge, right? So you don't really know what you're expecting. And then there is this spiritual principle called the attachment to the outcome, okay? If I am walking through life, and I have an attachment to what things are supposed to look like, who's going to be stressed out? Them or me? Or you? Of course, me. Because it isn't going to turn out the way that I'm envisioning it. What that does is it takes you away from the moment, puts you somewhere in the future that hasn't happened yet. And yes, you can visualize it. You can hope that it's going to turn out that way. But if you have that attachment, and I often can do this, and I catch myself, listen, it's every day you're working on parts of yourself. I can be disappointed, you know, and I've had a lot of good teachers in my life. A lot of good teachers who showed up for me with this divine contract that we had together for me to learn more about myself. And these people, these close people in my life, said, okay, you want to learn about forgiveness or non-judgment or unconditional love? Hey, I'm your person. This happened way before we were even born and put onto this earth. So I'm old enough now, older, where I can realize that these people have been put in my life for me to learn. And it is up to me to have that choice of making an everyday sacred situation. It really is. And it's up to you too. And I think that if you were to think about the times in your life when you have had those moments when you were just right there, feeling absolutely everything. Let's say it's a marriage, or the birth of a child, or this really great conversation with a friend or a loved one. You knew that every ounce of your energy and your being was in that moment. Wouldn't it be nice if you could kind of grab that in your life and make that happen every day, every moment? I mean, even when it comes right down to taking a walk. People, when I was surfing the web, they said that people do a type of a meditative walking. Now, I thought, well, great, yeah, I actually probably meditate when I'm walking, but not where you're consciously thinking of every footstep you're taking. I went, I don't know that I can do that. The amount of thoughts that are in my head in a second, or anybody, I don't know if I could actually do that. But do I gain peace from that? From that walk? From knowing that I am in nature and that I'm doing something good for myself and that I'm choosing peace in that walk? I probably am a better walking meditator for receiving information than I am going, I haven't practiced a whole lot on the second choice. So, you know, there's a popularity of many, many spiritual book authors out there right now, and it's been this wave for about the last 15 years at least, where these books have become #1 bestsellers of the New York Times and whatever that expression is. And I'll tell you what, I was really in a hungry place in my 30s where I learned so much because of these people who showed up in my life to teach me about me, that when I was hungry, this great information was out there. And I've told you this before, when I visualized myself, after a suggestion from my sister, when I visualized myself going into a communication about that, I didn't ever realize it would be on the radio, but I held it in my head and I said, I can see myself helping people. So the more I learned, the more I was able to open up that platform on talk radio. And that was the last talk, the intuition piece of just trying to manifest what you're desiring. But tapping into spiritual principles is a very, very important part of our everyday existence. And I think that, for me, if I can try to choose to have some of those spiritual principles that have helped me so much in my life be a part of my waking consciousness, then I know that what I'm doing on an everyday basis doesn't have to be an actual, you know, I'm going to sit down and pray, I'm going to meditate, I am going to... Your conscious choices can make your life a prayer. You can get up and say, okay, God, what are we going to do today? Spirit, I am ready for you. And you can create this walking prayer of your life because your higher consciousness, which is if you're sitting in this chair, you've been choosing higher consciousness for a long time. You want to manifest that not only in your life, but in the lives of others with a highest good of all. Michael Underwood, one of the former ministers here for a long time, I don't know how long it's been since he's spoken here, but he and I both got a great deal of training from a wonderful minister by the name of Marian Rice. And she would always talk to us about, you know, it is your thoughts. It is your own, she would do these great little stick figures. It's your own slide projector that tells you what filter and what viewpoint you're going to have in the world. So if you put in the filter of negativity, I'm going to have a rotten time, I don't want to see my relatives, I don't want to, this